What's going on, people? It's your man the YB back once again. Big shout out to my doggy Porter 540 for coming through and boosting up the coin. Oh, the boxing IQ skills slap sexualists isms are sick right now, folks. Yeah, they're sick because the YB on. We 2 for 2 in big bets, folks. Look at this one here. Bash! We at 150. That's 150. Like, I ain't even started my day yet. I haven't even started wage slaving for minimum wage yet. We at 150. Hold that. Yeah? Oh, AB. Bivol. I like Bivol. Listen, let's start here. I like Bivol. He fought his best and he's very hard. I expected him not to get stopped. But really, that was one of the worst ARTUR BETERBIEVs I've ever seen. He was constantly pressuring, but he was missing that second phase. He'd get Bivol to the ropes and he'd kind of back off. Beterbiev and his team said it themselves. That we're disappointed with that. That was the worst Beterbiev we ever seen. Bottom line. And arguably the best Bivol. What could Bivol have done different? He running. He can't run in. What's he going to do? Run quicker next time. That's the best advice the boxing sexualist I got robbedists can say. Oh, he can run quicker next time. You can't win a fight by running, folks. Hate to break it to you. He running. Oh man, he landed the cleaner shots. Let's see how many clean shots he landed. Oops. Where were these clean shots that he landed, folks? Yeah, and I've said for a long time, I don't believe in the traditional point system. I'm not interested in it at all, so don't bother coming here. Yeah, if you want to hear a bum licker talking about scorecards, and even then he lost on the scorecards anyway. Even if you want to do it on the scorecards, he lost. But outside of the scorecards, oh, he landed the cleaner shots. Where did he land the cleaner shots? Because this dude looked like he ain't been in a fight. And the truth is, if this was a 20-round fight, it was only going to go one way. Beterbiev, it's not Bivol's fault, but Beterbiev looked like he was in gear 1 the whole night. Probably because Bivol was running so hard. Which no doubt, obviously, if Bivol had stood more, though, tell a lie, when Bivol was standing more, Beterbiev wasn't actually getting on him anymore. I think Beterbiev isn't like an old school type dude who will stand in the middle of the ring, because there was a few times Bivol did stand in the middle of the ring, and Beterbiev wasn't trying to nozzle in and work on the inside. Beterbiev likes it when you're running from him, ultimately. That said, Bivol ran. He ran. He did not do what he did with Canelo, right? Bivol was not running. You can call it the Bivol fight. We all agree was a boxing. Sorry, the Canelo fight. We all agree that's what you call a boxing masterclass. He stepped in, slapped his head off, stepped out, stepped in some more, held his feet. There was none of that. This was from round 1, running. He was running the whole night. And Michelle made a good point that essentially the only time Bivol fought, there was no positive aggression. Bivol was never choosing to attack. It was essentially fight or flight. So for 80-90% of the fight, he was in flight mode. He was running. Fact. And the other 10-20% is when he thought, I got to fight now, I got to. Because he's been pushed to fight. He was never actually, I never saw Beterbiev on the ropes or being scurried around for sustained periods. There was a few flurries that Beterbiev, even half of the time, Beterbiev didn't even take a step back. A few times he'd take a step or two back, and he's straight back in there. You can't win a fight that way, folks. You can't win a fight. And the way I judge fights is, I couldn't care about the rounds. Ultimately, who would you rather be at the end of that night? Beterbiev, who was in gear 1, cruising. Not Bivol's fault, I agree. I do think Beterbiev should have put the hammer down. He agrees that, his team agrees that. You got Eddie Hearns, his team knew he lost. People, just because DMITRY BIVOL was buzzing because he survived, their whole camp was gassed, yeah, thinking, because the whole narrative was, if it goes to points, Bivol wins. Just because that's the narrative, it doesn't make it reality. Yeah? Bivol turned into Eraslandy Lara in there, just running the whole way through. So just because you survived doesn't mean you won. And just because Beterbiev didn't get the knockout, that doesn't mean that you guys won by default. This isn't knockouting, it's boxing. And you ran and ran and ran and ran. I like Bivol, he's very hard. He fought when he had to, when he was forced to. He's not a punk. He's not like a Caleb Plant who's resigned to his fate. Bivol's a top warrior for sure. He's not like a Callum Smith even Callum Smith was having half a go. But Bivol, he's given Beterbiev no doubt the hardest fight. It was not all his way. It was not all soft. He did fight when he had nothing else left to do kind of thing. But that's what it was here. It was hunter and prey. Predator and prey. That's the only narrative you can take from this fight. It was not a Floyd versus Canelo where Floyd's just pinging him in the mouth all night. This is not what it was. It was a hunting expedition. And put again, in terms of scoring, number one, who would you rather beat at the end of this fight? Clean face, in gear one Beterbiev, or bust up, running for your... Oh, the Sky commentary was shocking. Buatsi's sitting there, corny ass Nick. Oh, I think Bivol should have kicked off after the fight because he deserved... You bugging, man. He bust up. Even he said, he bust me up. People, nothing to do with my opinion. Where is the marks for all these shots that Bivol was landing? I'm not interested. I'm not interested in a fight. The fact you slap around and ain't got no power and you can't get no respect, essentially, and the guy's on your ass all night. I don't care if you... To what effect, essentially, is what I'm saying. Even if we suppose, it doesn't even make sense. Oh, YB, Bivol landed the cleaner and harder and more consistent shots. But yet one man's face bust up and the other's is clean. That don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. Skin is skin. So there's one of two things happening here. Bivol wasn't hitting him as hard and as clean as people thought he was, and he wasn't hitting him as often. Oops. I saw one mark on Beterbiev's head, on his forehead, which is really the best place to be hit on your head. Heart, it does nothing. Bivol's eye was mash up and his temple was mash up. And that was with Beterbiev in first gear. And I've watched it back this morning with Michelle because she fell asleep. And during the fight I thought, I don't like the idea of this rematch with Beterbiev. Watching it back, he was in gear one, man. Getting old overnight would be, oh my God, this guy's blowing after 6 rounds. He looked like he was in gear one. He started too late. He started in 10, 11, 12. He should have started in 7. And he himself said that. And bear in mind, it's not an excuse, but bear in mind, do you know how hard it is, yeah, to come off knee surgery and fight 5 months later? That's unparalleled. So that was never going to help Beterbiev. Scrap the age. People, if they was both 33 and Beterbiev's knee didn't have a bum knee, what are we doing here? I like Bivol. He's the best of the rest. But there are levels to this. This was Beterbiev on his worst night. He didn't look as... He wasn't as committed to kind of getting on Bivol. Now, you can say it's Bivol's footwork or the fact Bivol was countering, possibly. But still, there's things that Beterbiev can do. What could Bivol do different? I do think Bivol neglected the jab. His jab, particularly in the first half of the fight when he's quick. He wasn't... People, the boxing IQ homosexualists, they were telling us, oh, his jab's going to ping him off. What happened to that? Something happened in there. And I'm guessing, like most times when you're fighting someone who can punch and you're scared of, even the least risky shot, the jab, you end up not wanting to throw nothing. Normally, Bivol's in there with Canelo, kind of pouring his jab body and head, slapping it off 3 or 4 times in a row. Where was that? Oops. He didn't want to throw his hands. And Bivol spent most of the night, hands stuck to his head. Good defense, great defense. Hands stuck to his head, dotting left, dotting right. Self-preservation is what he was on. And the few times he did step up is because he thought, I've got to do something. So he's not. It's like levels of punk. People like Caleb Plant, they just run and survive. Bivol, he's a level above that. He wasn't trying to have clearly wasn't. He wasn't trying to have an all-out... Look at the way he slapped about Canelo in them last rounds. He stood there in the centre of the ring and was pushing him back. Where was that then? That's what greatness is. Bivol didn't do that. Bivol tried to nick this fight on points, and it was close. It was too close, but it was nothing to do with Bivol. Bivol didn't make it close. It was that Beterbiev was lacking that second phase. Look at Danny D. When Danny D gets on you now, he comes in with his jab, and then there's something else following it. He heard you to the ropes, and then something else following it. Beterbiev tonight, he'd get him to the ropes or thereabouts, and then he'd reset and take a step back himself. It was frustrating to watch. Again, we have to maybe credit Bivol's feet / he was counter punching, but Beterbiev and his team know what went on there. They'll look back and say, man, I should have just committed more. It was lacking commitment. Particularly, okay, the first half of the fight, I admit Bivol was very quick. We knew that anyway. But the second half, Bivol was noticeably slower with the hands. Beterbiev should have taken a little bit more risk there. And really, the only time Bivol had any success was when Beterbiev was waiting too long. Beterbiev was letting him back into the fight every time. It was not active. Show me a round where you've seen, for example, I'll give you an example. AJ versus Usyk 2. AJ has a great 9th round. And then Usyk goes through the levels. And it's clear the balance shifted. You tell me what round you can say the balance shifted in this round for Bivol. Not one round. I can't think of one round where you can say, yeah, okay, he's flipped the script now. Beterbiev was in control of every... I never saw him. Yes, he got hit a few times. I never saw him, though, like, panicking and skipping back to the ropes and tucked up and surviving and clinging on. Bivol was clinging on in the last rounds, and he was running like game animal. You can't win a fight like that in my book. Now, the boxing specialist will tell you, oh, if you start quick and you nick the first 6 rounds or 7 rounds, which he didn't, but if then you can win a fight. No. This is championship boxing, folks. And again, if you're honest with yourself, who would you rather be today? Who would you have rather been in that ring? Beterbiev all day. I don't want to... And a lot of the boxing specialists, they ain't never been in the ring, man. Let me tell you now, Bivol know what was good. If you've been in the ring, no one wants to be running around like prey animal, clinging on and backing up with their hands stuck to their head. No one wants to do that. They just don't. Unless your name's Erislandy Lara, and that's what you do. But Bivol does not want to be doing that by choice. No fighter wants to do that, have to feel like I've constantly got to go backwards. And he did hold his feet at points, not consistently enough though. And more time, whenever he did have a good answer back, Beterbiev would come back. The consistency here, it was low-level consistency though, in as much as the intensity was missing from Beterbiev. Them last few rounds were more like it, but Beterbiev said himself, I was lacking the snap, and it felt like that. It felt like he's never been the most... Beterbiev's renowned for having short, sawn-off shots. But it looked even more, almost slappy. He was like he needed a bit more... Dip your waist and wing. Then again, Bivol was running so quick. So I think it's a balance of both. I think Beterbiev couldn't be as intense because he was just trying to get something to land. So he was focusing more on speed as such and volume rather than really digging. Because if you want to dig, you got to set your feet, and Bivol would have been skirt out of there. But there are certainly things Beterbiev could have done better. Bivol, I think ultimately he's going to run out of gas after 6 rounds. This fight may have taken something out of him. And end of the day, people, when they both go home tonight, in terms of the rematch that Eddie Hearn's chilling for, delusionally, when they both go home tonight, there's only going to be one man thinking, oh, I'm not really sure about that one. That was probably the best I could do. That's Bivol. Beterbiev's not sitting there thinking about how, oh, it's a case of he just didn't put the hammer down more earlier, right? It wasn't a case of, oh, I don't really fancy that. Who don't fancy chasing someone around the ring? He took a few shots, no problem. Not that many shots, because his face is clean. So, the talk sport, all them kind of boxing dudes who allegedly know the game, the commentators who allegedly know the game, sucking Bivol off for landing a few people. When you're running forward all night, you can't do it all, right? The people sucking Bivol off, you want someone to do it all. You want someone to have to come forward. Coming forward, inevitably, is more risky. That's why most people don't do it. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh, Beterbiev was coming forward all night, and the fact Bivol got a few clean shots in, that means he won. That's not how boxing works, in my book. You have to give the benefit of the doubt to the guy storming forward and consistently putting hands together, round after round after round. Because I can't think of one fighter who comes forward who can't get pot-shotted. It's impossible. Do you know what I'm saying? So make your mind up here. You want to give the win to a guy who ran the whole night and then landed a few punches in spots. It was spotty. It was a spotty performance, and it was a pressured performance. Bivol only fought when he had nowhere else to go, which is, again, that's higher level than most boxers. But that's what it was. He was panic fighting. It was not, oh man, I'm giving this guy a boxing lesson. Compare the Canelo fight. That is what you call, I'm completely comfortable. I'm going to the ropes because I want to be there. And you know that because several times, if Bivol went to the ropes with Canelo, he'd just punch in between Canelo and make him look silly. He weren't doing that. Bivol sucked in here looking for an exit. He was not comfortable. I can't think of... There may have been a 5-second period where you might argue Beterbiev didn't look comfortable when Bivol was flurrying, obviously. But even then, he was standing there, rolling with the shots and coming straight back in. So you can't even really argue that. Show me a sustained period over 36 minutes where you saw Beterbiev uncomfortable. You can't win a fight, in my book, where your opponent has never looked uncomfortable. And you've been uncomfortable for probably 10 rounds. 30 of them 36 minutes, Bivol was uncomfortable. Are you telling me he won? Uncomfortable getting peppered. Now again, Beterbiev's jab, it was more... I guess he was trying to herd Bivol. But I would like to have seen, like Daniel Dubois, yes, put a few flappy ones in there, but at points, Beterbiev need to start driving. I didn't really see him drive any jabs. He should have started stepping in, get your head down, stepping with that jab authoritatively, and then put something together. It was all pory, and then trying to set another shot up off that. Drive that jab right in his head. That's what was missing. But he was moving so much, I guess. So there's two factors here. But Bivol, I don't care what no one says, but Beterbiev could have. He had another. Come on, man. He had another gear, man. He finished that 12 rounds. His face is fresh. He wasn't blowing. He had another gear. The only thing is essentially Bivol didn't enable him to use that gear because he was running so much. But you don't win a fight that way, folks. Anyway, I'm going to come back and do a live stream talking about the whole card later on. So if you're around 4 p.m. ish GMT, I'll be posting up. But yeah, I'm gassed for Beterbiev. He deserves to win this, man. If Bivol had won it, it'd have been a travesty, man. It'd been a travesty. That's what it would have been. Because there's levels to this game. And Beterbiev is the level. Yeah? Every man run from Beterbiev. Sustainably. That's unparalleled. And everyone was blowing Bivol for the Canelo performance. Fine. I'm happy for that. Good for him. Light and day. There's levels. And Bivol knows what was good in there. Eddie Hearn and all the pseudo-boxing heads can sit there and say what they want. He knows what good in there. He knows. That's why he weren't complaining. He knows. He wasn't a robbery, man. I don't know how you can say it was. If you've boxed before and you're panicked, running out and hands stuck to your head and having to dot left and you've lost, man. When you're running for 12 rounds straight, no man will ever tell you. They might shill it. Oh, I won that. You know in your heart. You know in your heart who actually won that fight. You know in your heart if there was no authorities, if there was no rounds, right? Look at that way, people. And that's what matters. I couldn't care less about the rounds. How I score fights is, if there was no authorities and no rounds, who would have come out of that ring? Stop playing. Bivol would have been knocked out. If that was a 15 or 20 round fight, it'd have been knocked out. That's how it used to be back in the day. No rounds. We go till it's over. Who would have been over at that point? Beterbiev was in gear one. Bivol was on his last legs. And it's only because he's so fit and a bit younger and high premium and he's got great defense. People. Only one man was close to a stoppage. That's a fact. Right? Only one man was looking dangerous the whole night. Only one man was looking menacing. And the signs are there. Yes, Bivol's got a great chin. He's got great defense. He's got great feet. Fine. But inevitably, if there was no rounds, it would have been a wrap for Bivol. He was wilting. In that 11th and 12th, which are the championship rounds, Bivol knows that. Bivol knows if he had anything left, he should have done more. He was finished. It's only because he's so premium. Even, I call it a 15-round fight, it'd have been stopped. Or certainly put down. Right? He was wilting. Wilting. Was Beterbiev wilting? You bugging. Beterbiev didn't... I don't even think he broke a sweat, man. He didn't even break... Look at this cat here, look. He ain't even broke a sweat. His face is bone dry 1 minute after the fight. And I'm not just saying that because I bet on Beterbiev and I backed him. That's the fact. He was not even stressed a bit. Gear one, ticking over. Which was frustrating. He's disappointed. His team's disappointed. I'm disappointed. There's more there. But when you look at this fight, who had more? Come on now. You might be able to say, oh, Bivol could have done his jab some more. Bivol knows how to jab. Right? There's a reason. I can't tell you exactly what it was. But there's a reason Bivol wasn't jabbing. My guess is he was scared of being countered with the overhand right from Beterbiev. And number two, when you felt power that makes you want to run around left and right, your hands stay here. And that's how it looked, particularly in the last half. He didn't want to throw his hands. He did not want to throw his hands. You can't win a fight when you're scared to throw your hands. Beterbiev was not. Beterbiev got hit with great counters, and allegedly, in the Bivol homosexual's opinion, he got hit with a better counters. Why was his hand still throwing then? So for me, it's a spiritual game. Yeah? When one man's not scared to throw his hands and plowing forward all night, the other guy can't win. Yeah, whose spirit was close to being broken here? Bivol's. He was on his way out. Again, great conditioning. Great defense. That kept him in it. But another 3-4 rounds. Who hit? What happens in 3 or 4 rounds? All the Bivol homosexuals. What would happen in 3 or 4 extra rounds? Honestly. Don't know that Eddie Hearn said, oh, Bivol. He called it a boxing masterclass. No, Eddie. Canelo, when Bivol whooped Canelo, that was a boxing masterclass. And at the time, Eddie Hearn was saying, oh, it was close. It probably should have been a draw. I had it to Canelo. Yeah? An actual masterclass. Your man got punched up. He got the fight beat out of him. Because he could have put them same... Why wasn't he putting them same Canelo bars on? Bivol's renowned for stepping in and slapping away 7-punch combinations. I saw that maybe once. Did nothing. Evidentially here, and he did nothing to Beterbiev's spirit. Straight in there, no problem. Every round, round after round. He was just lacking... Is it a case he's getting older? Men, it's known, as you get older, you lose that... It's possible. It looked like he was... But he's got a bum knee. He's 40 years old. Again, I don't care about the cards. Bivol lost on the cards anyway. But the game's a spiritual thing here. You got a 40-year-old man who's got a bum knee. You have surgery, folks, and try and fight the best guy in the division 5 months later. Take all these factors into account. 40, bum knee. And you go in there like that? And dude running and face bust up and... Come on now, clinging on. Come on. Get serious here. You're delusional. He got whooped. And next time it'll be worse. After watching it back, it'll be worse next time. It'll be worse next time for him. Because Beterbiev... I'd give that a 3 or 4 out of... If 5 is average, I'd give it a 3 or 4. I'd give it a 3 or 4. And some of that will be down to Bivol, but ultimately, a little bit more oomph. A little bit more commitment. Bivol can clearly punch a bit, because Beterbiev wasn't reckless, but I think it's more to do with Beterbiev's mindset, or something was missing there. I don't think it was so much the power, because he was still coming in, and wading in. I think the strategy for beating Bivol is, you go in there 6 rounds. I don't mind Beterbiev pouring for the first 6 rounds, and like he was. But once you hit that round 7, round 8, it's time to go now. It's time to hit that second and third phase. The first half of the fight, stick with the first phase and keep him pressured and back him up. In them last 4 or 5 rounds, we're going to work now. We're stepping in authoritatively. We're stepping in with double jab, pop, pop, and we're working. And we're stepping in again with some inside shots. And we're just walking into him. Because that feet stuff, you can't punch when you're galloping left and right. You can't punch. Beterbiev's got to run in, man. Have a go. He's got to just commit to something. Go for the body, maybe. That was maybe. Beterbiev did hit the body a few times, but when Beterbiev finished his first phase and ushered Bivol to the ropes, at that point, stick another jab on the end, stiff, and dig something to the body or something. I don't know. I'm not a boxing expert. Put something on there, man, spiteful. Don't let him reset, and then... It was too conversational for Beterbiev at times. More so than normal. He was happy for Bivol to skeet out the back door. And he was happy to give Bivol time. I gotta be honest, the only time I saw Bivol do anything, he let Bivol back into the fight. That's how it felt. Beterbiev was too calm. He was happy to... He obviously didn't respect the power that much. But anyways, it's complex. It was a close fight, though, if that makes sense. Because of the facts I've told you, Beterbiev won by a round. But the scope for improvement... I actually think, to be honest, like I said earlier, I think Bivol looked better when he was in the middle of the ring. Beterbiev wasn't doing that great when they were toe-to-toe. So maybe it might be like an Andre Ward versus Kovalev, too. The first fight, Ward was cacking his pants boxing too much. And then the second fight, he came right at him. Beterbiev doesn't really do great work in the middle of the ring. He's not like an Evander Holyfield, who's just posted there and rocking and rolling and winging to the body. He likes to herd you to the ropes. So that might be a gap, but it's a risky gap, obviously. You're in range, and Bivol can't punch. He's slapping around. So he's not going to want that. So what can Bivol do better then? You've either got to believe he's going to come in there like Andre Ward 2 and stick it on the bully as such. Okay, well, good luck. Good luck with that one. Or he's got to find a way to run around a bit quicker and get hit a little less. But I guess the jab, you'd have to somehow... Bivol going to have to commit to that jab and stay on it like Devin Haney. Give a Devin Haney performance. Jab. Because he has got a better jab. From what I saw, yes, Beterbiev's jab was particularly soft, but from what I saw, Bivol's jab is stinging. It was underused, though, which would have been for a reason. You don't underuse your favourite shot / the most effective low-risk shot for nothing. He was shook to his boots. He didn't even want to throw a jab. That tells you all you need to know about who won the fight. Beterbiev threw everything in the book. Anyway, that's my analysis. We're up right now. I expect Beterbiev to win the rematch. Should there be a rematch? Absolutely. There's no other fights. No one's on these two guys' levels. Defense all night from both men was sublime. Anyone else would have been stuck by Beterbiev. That's a fact. It was only the fact Bivol has such great feet, such great cardio. Someone like Buatsi, who got a bit tired in the back end, is going to be a wrap for him. Bivol got tired, but he was able to maintain super tight discipline, and his feet didn't blow out. He didn't end up just stuck in the mud like some fighters do. They lose their legs. He kept his legs. That's what saved him. But put it like people. Imagine if Bivol was 39, right? If Bivol was 39, how do you think this fight goes? Right? If Beterbiev was 33 and it was Bivol with a bum knee and 39, what are we doing here? He'd be smoked out of there. So that shows you the levels. That shows you who deserved to win. Who's really that guy? Beterbiev's got it all against him. And he still won. Oops. Let me know your thoughts, folks. Salute to Bivol, though. He's a warrior. No one can say I thought there was a chance that Bivol would just be resigned to his fate and go into Jamel Charlo versus Canelo mode or Callum Smith versus Canelo mode and just try to survive. He didn't do that. He did fight in pockets. He did try his hardest. But what again, as far as this fight's concerned, if you were to rank it out of 10, who tried their hardest in this fight? Who was redlining? Who gave it all they got? Bivol. He was an 8 or a 9 out of 10 for effort. He couldn't do no more if he tried. Whereas Beterbiev, I call it a 3 or a 4. Again, you're getting whooped by a 40-year-old bum knee who ain't even trying that hard. You hadn't got out of first gear. You're redlining. So there's levels, man. And as far as the levels are concerned, Beterbiev that guy. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, subscribe. Look off the bell, 100%. There's no doubt about this on people. Stop it.